All right, guys, welcome to the Pinball Post. This is episode 31. And I see we got a good group of people already here, which is always cool to see. Human, got the fingers up. Lord Skylar, Wingo, Edgy, hey all, he says. Hello. Scotty, Soggy Bacon, watching the live in makes the seconds go so slow. Absolutely. Took a little long time to get to the spot view today, but it is what it's going to be. So, and then Leon Spiegel, always a wonderful contributor and one of my earliest supporters. So always good to have you here. STE in the man. I know it's time the man. I'll quit doing that to you, but good to have you here. Fellow pinball nerds. Yes, absolutely. Got a good show tonight. We're going to talk a lot about real pinball tonight. There's actually not a lot happening in the digital space right now, so we're going to kind of transition a little bit to more of the real pinball side. We got some Pokemon controversy to talk about, and some of that goes into a little bit of layouts and worth and value of pinball tables. So there's going to be a lot to that to cover for sure. We are going to talk a little bit about flipper fatigue and what that looks like and how you get out of it. And then, of course, we'll go into the one ball for greatness and daily grind results like we typically do. So we will cover a little bit of the flipper friends and things like that. There's a little bit of that news, a little bit of ad games here, and a little bit that we can cover in a little bit. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So Pinball Wizard, as always, my moderator and good friend of mine in the chat. He will keep you up to date on anything or any links to the Discord if you want to get involved in that, or the daily grind. I've also put links in the description of this video for the Discord if you're wanting to join the community of almost 150 people now, believe it or not. So that's actually grown quite a bit. It just continues. We continue to have new people every single week joining the daily grind, and some of the competition has been incredibly fierce. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Soggy Bacon, for example, had an amazing score today. We're definitely going to talk about that. And the one ball for greatness, as we go through some of that, we'll talk about some of the things that happen, and then some things that shouldn't happen. We'll talk about that as well. So, Billy Woods Mods, I do see you, man. Howdy, chat. Hope you're all doing well. Good to see you, man. Yeah. So, is the P3 making new table inserts? Are they making new table inserts? I'm not sure. I haven't seen any news from P3 in a long time, actually. Really, since Portal Extended, I really haven't seen other stuff. They've had a few of like the Elemental apps and stuff like that, but there really hasn't been a ton of stuff, to be honest. So I'm certainly looking forward to the next IP. That's going to be something that we're going to have to look forward to. Obviously, the biggest news is Stern, between Pokemon, the rumored Transformers, and even Fallout. Or they've talked about Halo too, might be an option. Not Fallout, Halo. So, was that right? Or was it Fallout? I thought it was Fallout. So anyway, we're not sure what that's going to be. We definitely think we're going to get Transformers Gen 1, that we talked about before. And we've talked about Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff like that. But there's definitely some stuff out there. But with controversy. So Pokemon's came out. People have already, we looked at it last week. We've seen the layout of it. I'll bring it up on screen just so we can have it talked about a little bit here. But the Pokemon playfield has been a huge thing of controversy this week. And I'm shocked, quite frankly. I knew that there would be, because we had the leaked image a couple weeks ago, I was curious as to what people would really think of this. Being that it's a basic fan layout, as we talked about, I actually think this is a good thing for new people coming into the pinball space. But I will say there is definitely a contingent of people that are pretty upset with this. Like, they're like, why this? Why can't we get something a little more complex, a little different? The Horde multi-ball would be amazing on a Halo reprint, right? I mean, there'd be a lot of opportunities there for sure. For Halo, video game space in general, and I think that's really where Pokemon has a tremendous amount of potential for real pinball. We're looking at a $280 billion business for Pokemon. It is by far the biggest IP that we've probably ever seen in pinball space. I believe Cary Hardy did say that, that he had done some research on that to make sure that, definitely don't quote me on that, but I believe that was the case that he was referring to. And it's been talked about quite a few different ways. And the idea is, man, if Pokemon goes well for Stern, what does that kind of open up for the industry? Does it bring us back to a Super Mario Brothers? Obviously we had a Super Mario Brothers Gottlieb back in the day. That's been a long time. I think we in the digital space have been playing that on VPX and different things, so we have options for it and play it. There's two different ones. Pinball Wizard actually pointed me to the second one that I didn't know existed, like Mushroom Kingdom. So that was kind of cool. Didn't know that existed. I knew about the first one from Gottlieb. Actually, I think they're both from Gottlieb now that I think about it. But it was interesting to see, and it would definitely open some doors. Cary even brought up the idea of maybe a Donkey Kong Country. They're planning to do a second Mario movie. And then possibly a Donkey Kong movie has been rumored pretty heavily in that same space. So it would certainly be something that they would consider. And then, of course, Cary is a Metroid fan like me. So it makes perfect sense for me to say I would love a Metroid pinball game. Obviously, Samus can turn into a ball and roll around in the game. In the Prime series and on the 2D series. So it would make perfect sense. And actually there's been a Pokemon or a Metroid pinball game for the DS way back in the day. As we talked about actually once upon a time. So, hey PW, you're an unsung hero. I appreciate your monitoring and all this work you do in the background. Soggy Bacon. Between Soggy Bacon, Jabba, and Pinball Wizard, you guys make this channel not only this YouTube channel, but also the Discord hum. You guys have been huge contributors to it, and I personally could not do all that I do without you guys. So definitely a huge thanks to you guys. Love to see that Pinball Wizard's over 50 subs now and is doing all kinds of VPX content, and I see a lot of you subscribe to that too, so that was really cool to see. So yeah, anyway, but I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Getting back to Pokemon, so this layout is very much a basic fan layout, which we talked about, and what was the biggest conversation starter about this was really about, he's up to 90 now. That's awesome. That's good to see. The biggest conversation about this has really been, what is the when you start talking about pinball machines, we're talking about machines that are between $8,000 and $10,000, or if you go up to a Jersey Jack, you can go all the way up to like a $12,000 out of box, and then their value above that can go up to as high as $15,000 for something like an Evil Dead right now, and really impossible to get. We expect Beetlejuice to be up in the $15,000 range as well, just because they're going to be so hard to find. And that at that price point, you have to start considering whether or not the playfield that you have has enough value in it to sustain that type of cost. So when Stern brought out Pokemon, this playfield here, you have to really start to wonder, is this playfield going to be engaging enough to keep fans happy? And all I can say to this is, it depends on who you're trying to keep happy. Now, I will say, with this particular game, this is not for the elite, right? I mean, I don't know that, and I'm not talking about, so a lot of people are going to buy this system just because it's Pokemon. They just like Pokemon, their kids like Pokemon, wife likes Pokemon, whatever it is. We all kind of grew up with Pokemon in the last 25 years or so. So it's available to us, and it's a thing. But this playfield is pretty basic, and the comparisons to Stranger Things have been grossly blown out of proportion. So I'm going to bring up the comparison that I seen on Facebook today of Pokemon to Stranger Things. And it's pretty interesting when you look at them side by side. So this is Pokemon here, and actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to break protocol here, and we're going to open up this one as well. Let's see if we can't get both of these on screen. Maybe I can't. There we go. So there we are. So here we have Pokemon on one side and Stranger Things on the right. And let me tell you, I started to look at these and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's definitely some similarities. Are they selling the Pokemon? Not this Pokemon, Leon. They will not be selling this one at Sam's Club. Is that what you're referring to? I know there is a rumored home edition for Pokemon. And I think that will be a Costco edition, just like we've seen with Jurassic Park and Star Wars. So that has not been announced, but it's pretty heavily rumored that that's going to be a thing. So it will be interesting to see whether or not that comes out or not, and how quickly. So that price point would be about $6,000, which would be considerably cheaper than the full-blown, even the Pro version, I think is going for $8,000, and it kind of goes up from there. There's not a significantly huge difference between the Pro and the Premium as far as feature sets for this one, so it's not super drastic, quite frankly. I was a little curious to see whether or not that was going to be a thing or not, to be honest. And it's really not that drastic. So really the only things that you're going to lose out on is this Pokeball right here shakes back and forth. So it just kind of wobbles when you're going to collect a Pokemon. The Meowth toy here is going to be exactly the same thing. So that's going to extend out. It's got a little balloon. It's got a rubber piece on the bottom that you knock around. And it becomes kind of like a junkyard. Thus, us that are familiar with Junkyard will be real familiar with these 3 drop targets on either side, or spot targets in this case. They don't actually drop, I don't believe, they're just spots. And then when the Meowth actually moves back, you hit the center hole for multi-ball. So, kind of in the same vein as Junkyard. But, and then of course Pikachu can turn his head, the animatronic version in the Premium and the limited edition versions will be animatronic, whereas in the other one it'll be static, so he won't be moving on that. I am not interested in Pokemon at all. I played at the arcade, yeah. So, and Soggy Bacon, you're right. I think a lot of people are going to want to play Pokemon just because it's new and it's fresh and it's cool. I think this is going to shoot incredibly well, quite honestly. Being that it is a pretty clean layout. What people have said that have played it is that the ramps are quite wide. It's a fast shooting game. You can backhand a ton of the shots. This is going to be pretty forgiving. There's even a shot here, right here, where if you don't make it all the way up this ramp, it actually falls into the chute here and actually will safely bring it back to the left side, which is really cool. Now this is the Pro version that we're looking at. We're not looking at the Premium or the limited edition, because the reason I can tell is because it would have a spinning disc right above this left in lane on the Premium and Pro versions, which is very similar to Creature from the Black Lagoon, which we're playing today. So if we jumped over to this, just for real quick measure, you could see over here on the bottom right hand corner on Creature from the Black Lagoon, you've got this spinning disc here. That is very similar to what you're seeing on Pokemon, just on the other side on the Premium and Pro, or the Premium and Limited Edition versions. So there is some, which one am I looking for here? Here we go. So there is some precedence for that. We've already seen that. That will slow down gameplay considerably and actually make it pretty easy to see, quite frankly. Or pretty easy to play. It's going to make it more playable, more accessible. But the comparisons to Stranger Things are pretty valid when you start to look at it. Yes, it's very different as far as the center space here with the projector. But you still have a center mech, so to speak. You have the Demogorgon in the case of Stranger Things. But the shots are pretty similar. This is also, Stranger Things has also been compared to Medieval Madness like 1,000 times over. They're both Brian Eddy games. You have the capture hole on this left-hand side, which represents the catapult. You have which would be the orbit or the joust lane. You have the peasant lane. Then you'd have over here, this lane would be the damsel which basically instead of spinning and coming down, just kind of loops and comes down and feeds the in lane there. So there's these little things that are really, really close to what they've always been. It's not far-fetched to think that this stuff is going to continue. I feel like there's been so many different pinball game iterations that they're going to start to blend together. We're going to start to see different iterations for sure. Even on the left-hand side, you can see this ball is being fed up the left ramp here, goes around a loop, and then comes down safely into the in lane on Pokemon. Same thing over here. You go up the ramp, you go through here. It can be stopped for a multi-ball up here, and then can kick out and stuff like that. Now this one doesn't have the safety net of being able to drop into that section, so if you miss out and don't hit this shot all the way, there's a really good possibility that's going to go straight out the middle. Neither one of these have center posts, nothing like that. But they are pretty similar layouts. I will say I think Stranger Things is certainly more iterative, if you will, and I think that they did a lot more with the projector screens and being able to do stuff. You're seeing the pro versions of both of these here. So, but yeah, it's, what's the controversy for it, right? I mean, are we talking about the fact that they're too expensive, or is it just that we want so much more than what we're actually seeing? So it's pretty curious, I thought, to talk about. We're going to jump over to another section here where we're going to look at some different games that it would compare to. So, and it's not a fair fight, to be honest, but when we talk about it, let's look at Harry Potter. So Harry Potter is a game from Jersey Jack. It's a lot more expensive, so it's not the best comparison, but this is what a lot of people are really saying is the best game of 2015. It is incredibly, incredibly packed with value and shots. There's a lot going on in this playfield, for sure. Of course, that I now sat down on both of them, you took them off the screen. I'm so sorry, man. Of course, Billywood Mods. So Harry Potter, for example, it's been criticized pretty heavily for the back third of this table being incredibly packed. If you look from this spot back, everything is just jam-packed in here. You cannot see the playfield. The actual playfield at the bottom is almost indistinguishable. You really can't see it from above like this. It's got all these ramps and chutes, and you have this Quidditch area that goes around and around and around. You have this really cool rotating staircase that apparently you can get up to 13 different shot paths from that. This is what people are looking for when we start looking at value versus cost. So you have the cost of the table, but is the value of that table going to justify its price? And that's what Pokemon is really getting a lot of grief about right now. And it's really interesting to see because I don't see that being that big of a problem. On location, Pokemon is going to absolutely kill it. I think if anybody's questioning that, please let me know in the chat, because I really think this table is going to go gangbusters on location. I think it'll sell pretty well too, quite frankly. I do think there's going to be a huge secondary market for Pokemon. They're not going to... I don't think people are going to be a huge rush to buy them, quite frankly. Because it's Stern, you have the opportunity. They're not like a set number, so it's not like a Beetlejuice or a situation or a Winchester where you had 525 and you have FOMO. They're going to buy them up and they're going to be gone forever. So I don't think there's that situation at all. It is interesting to see what will happen with Pokemon. I think we're going to see them in stores really, really quickly. I'm already hearing that Ruckus Taco, a restaurant by me, just a little place that has like six pinball machines. They rotate them in and out. There's already talk that they're going to get one here pretty quick. The arcade just north of me, Brighton, always buys the limited edition immediately. If it's a Stern or a Jersey Jack, he'll have the limited edition of both really, really quickly. So I expect to have a hands-on with this thing really probably within another month or so. I would think would be pretty realistic. I could not believe how quickly I got hands-on with Fall of the Empire. Um, Avatar was very quickly available from Jersey Jack when it came out. So I'll be really curious to see how well received it is. I think it's going to get a lot more play than even Star Wars did. And I expected that one to do pretty well. But I feel like everybody played that table pretty much and then just kind of moved on. So, but this is the competition that we're looking at here. Harry Potter is an incredibly dense game. You're looking at, you have all 8 movies represented. 6 of them are basic modes, and then 2 of them are considered wizard modes. So you can access movies 7 and 8 apparently through a wizard mode for this. So it's an incredibly deep game. I was actually watching Orange Lab Pinball last week, and one of the guys had said that he bought Harry Potter because his wife wanted it, and within one playthrough, or one session of playing it, she's like, I can't play this, it's too hard. And so there is definitely a fear for me that people are not going to see most games that we want as the really competitive crew of pinball are not going to be accessible to a lot of people. So I think Pokemon, for that reason, is going to do really, really well. It's not Baby Shark. We can't compare it to Baby Shark on the digital side. It's not quite that. Baby Shark is incredibly, incredibly accessible on the digital side. But all of our games are roughly the same price. They're very cheap and accessible. So it's just not the same ball game. Now, if you look at this one, Avatar, another Jersey Jack, it's another $12,000 to $15,000 game, depending on the additions and stuff you get. Again, an incredibly dense playfield. This is one of the most beautiful tables I've ever seen. But it has a lot of flippers. You know, it has 4 flippers on the main playfield, 2 on the lower playfield. It has two lower playfields. It has wireframes all over the place. An incredibly deep rule set. It has like a 24-inch DMD. It's not even considered a DMD at that point. It's a flat-out screen. So this is value proposition versus cost. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck, if you will. Whereas Pokemon, I think the added value of Pokemon is going to be its accessibility, and the fact that they're saying right now that it has 180 Pokemon, which is a little of a weird number because the original game series only had 151 if you count Mewtwo. So 180 suggests that they're probably going to go up and continue to add more Pokemon to this, and that's the number that they had originally taken care of. So it will be curious to see what goes on with that. This is one that I took live, probably a little bit better photo of Avatar. Again, I really love this table. This is a table that I would have loved to have owned, but again, price is so high. This is where I kind of blend over to the P3 area, where I can consider getting a system, if you will, for $12,000, and then buying additional games for about $3,000 or $4,000, being modules. So it wouldn't be the perfect scenario, but it would give you more tables with less space and things like that. Perfect time for Jersey Jack, Barrels of Fun, Spooky, etc. to steal Pokemon's thunder. And what way are you referring to, Sonic Soggy Bacon? I am curious to see what the response is going to be. That's really subjective. It's all in the eye of the beholder, says Billy Woods Mods. It doesn't interest me, but certainly interest will be somebody else. And that's just it. There's a lot of us. I was in the same category as most of you. Pokemon's not super interesting to me. I will play it. It will be fun to collect Pokemon on Stern Insider. So that's going to be an opportunity that we did not get on a lot of other tables. Venom has some character stuff like that and some things. You can continue character gameplay on Dungeons and Dragons, which is another one that was a little more far-reaching than just the pinball people. It brought in more people into the community. So Stern's doing some of that stuff, which is really, really good, bringing more people to the hobby. So, welcome, Gong Ryan. Hey, hey, he says. And one of the issues that I see with the Stern is the back boxes are all cookie cutter. They all look exactly the same. It's boring. Maybe the gameplay is great, but does the back box really mean that much to people? That's one curious thing that I would question is, does the back box sell a game? I think that it does very much so for a Jersey Jack, which has a lot more movie clips and very full-sized. I mean, if you look at Avatar, for example, the playfield on that thing, or the back glass screen slash DMD on that thing is incredible. So, Medben Han, welcome. Don't most people start with cheaper table and trade up until you can buy brand new and shiny? Lord Skylar, it's a good question. I think that's probably where most people start, and you have to consider what the maintenance is going to look like. I mean, Soggy Bacon just bought a Jersey Jack Guns N' Roses for his first pin. Craziness, but luckily he's pretty savvy, and he can fix scoops and things like that, swap out boards and things like that. You have to be prepared for that with a real pinball machine, whereas you don't have to worry about that with all the digital stuff. So there's entry level simpler tables, unless we want the games to shrink as the wizards die off one by one, Leon Spiegel says. Yeah, there's something to that for sure. And Mad Ben, welcome to the stream, man. There's definitely something to be considered there. There was a lot of question. I seen a conversation in the Discord this week too about Fishtails versus Medieval Madness. Which one would you rather have? And I was like, man, that's a tough question. Medieval Madness is a complete classic. Super fun game. I would probably want that more than Fishtails, but at the same time, I actually enjoy Fishtails quite a bit more. I would take Attack from Mars over Medieval Madness, but Fishtails is incredibly fun. Juggling, the modes are inconsequential in that game. You're never going to play them, but just being able to do going for those 3 different jackpots for the different fisherman types, and then juggling, and then going for the supers is incredibly satisfying, hitting that outside orbit, and then of course slamming that captured ball in the middle. There's a lot of fun there, and so you could really go nuts with that. Yeah, Billy Woods is like Medieval Madness 100%. A lot of people will be, but I consider, okay, but the biggest consideration there was cost. Okay, see, so let's back up, Billy Woods. Now, if you got $4,000, you can buy about $4,200. You can buy Fishtails right now. Is that something that you would want to do? Fishtails, right? $4,000. Or do you want to buy Medieval Madness for 12 grand? They're roughly both early 90s games, right? So now what's it feel like? You're talking value versus cost again. It's the same thing we're doing with Pokemon. Is the difference between Fishtails and Medieval Madness worth $8,000? You could have 2 additional pins for that. You could almost get a Venom for $4,000 at times. You could easily get an F-14 Tomcat or a High Speed for $2,000 or $3,000. You could get some additional pros even. So there are options out there for sure. You made my day. I love Fishtails, Lord Skyler says. Played GNR with my 10-year-old today. He had a blast. I put rubber bands over the right outlane. Huge improvement for having fun. That's cool. Yeah, so you can make it a little more kid accessible just by pulling the glass off. Absolutely. And that's great. You could also adjust the tilt a little bit of the table if you really wanted to. Maybe a little. It's a lot easier to just cover up the outlanes and make it a little more accessible that way. Hopefully you got the scoop fixed on that one. I know that was one of the center scoop. Throwing it right down the center of between the flippers is kind of a pain, I guess, on that one. Leon Spiegel says, I'd buy a digital cab and get all of them for less. And that's, we're in the digital space, so we're okay with that. But man, if you're absolutely dead set on having a real pin, the difference between a Fishtails and Medieval Madness for the game itself is maybe an easier decision. A lot of people are going to go with Medieval Madness, but when you start to consider the cost of it, $8,000 difference, well, now we're talking. Now you have to consider what's that look like, what's that mean. So it's definitely something I would consideration to consider for sure. So we'll look at this next one here. So this is another one. This is a pretty cheap game, quite honestly. Deadpool. Deadpool is not crazy playfield. This is a pretty basic game. It's got some cool shots though. And this is where value versus cost kind of plays in. Like this is you can get this game pretty cheap nowadays if you really wanted to play it. It is a Gomez game, which is nope, he'll menace all the way. Quality over quantity, even for the $8,000 difference. I'd at least get one real pin along with the V pin. That way, I'd have all the real tables at your disposal. And yeah, that's a consideration. I would definitely, regardless if I got a real pin or not, I wouldn't get rid of my V pin for sure. So definitely, I could see that comparison too. But Deadpool's another game. Like there's not a ton of stuff on the playfield here. So is this worth it or not? And is there enough code here? And we see this with Stern games and all these new games coming out. You get a non-complete game, and then they continue to add code to it after year after year after year. So it's a little interesting to see, for sure. I'd still play my 4KP 85% of the time. I'd still get my money's worth, but I still get my money's worth from GNR. My 4KP is much better value, though. Definitely value-wise, Soggy Bacon, you're absolutely right. You consider the price point for the 4KP, $2,000. That's pretty easy to stomach and be able to play just about anything. Virtually no maintenance. I know we have some maintenance as far as flipper buttons and micro switches. There's been some different things that have happened, of course, but yep, even still, Billy Woods, okay. You'd rather pay the $12,000, and that's great if you have it. That's certainly a thing to do. Foo Fighters would be another one you would jump on. Yeah, and if you're a band fan for one, the band-based pinball machines are huge. I mean, they're absolutely huge. I mean, Guns N' Roses we're already talking about. Foo Fighters would be another one. So Deadpool is kind of that way. This is one of my favorite games of all time. This is Sword of Rage, Black Knight Sword of Rage. This is the pro version, so this doesn't have the upper playfield. But again, this is a really basic playfield. So people are still contemplating whether or not this is worth the cost buying it brand new. You could still buy this table for about $8,000 to $10,000, and people have to consider whether or not it's even worth it. And I'm like, this table is incredible. The callouts are great, the shots are great, but it is a basic fan layout again. And not everybody loves these basic fan layouts. Now this game, I will not for 1 minute say this is an accessible game. This is a very, very difficult game. There's a lot of posts right there in the front here. All these posts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of these posts are absolutely brutal. And you hit this spot target to fight the knight, he's gonna put it right down the middle. You hit his mace when it's spinning, it's gonna go right down the middle. This game is not accessible at all, but it is meant to be that way. So it has its value in different ways. So each pinball machine obviously has rule sets and things that are very specific to the game, but it is really interesting to see cost versus value. This was another one. This is Star Wars Fall of the Empire. Another basic fan layout, super accessible game. The shots are a little tighter on this. They're not super wide. So you do have to be a little careful on this one. And it's got some bumpers down here, which make it a little interesting. Bumper here, bumper here. You do have all these posts kind of laid out in a fan layout. But there's some tough shots on this. But there's a lot of value here. And the code has been incredible. They've been pumping out code for this thing again and again and again and again. And it's been really, really good. So no way I'd drop that kind of money. Have to wait a couple years for matured code. But in 3 to 5 years from now, if you still want it, it has better code. That's true, Pinball Wizard. You're absolutely right. There's people are so worried about. Well, you don't have to worry about that with Stern. Stern, continues to make their games pretty continuously, whereas these other smaller companies, Jersey Jack and Stern are pumping out games for years, and they're more tied to those IPs, and they have the licenses extended for many years and things like that. Whereas something like Winchester 525, you're locked in, gone. Beetlejuice, they're locked in and they're going to be gone, and that's really sad. It creates FOMO, it gets them sold out, but it makes them really hard to get. So a Rush Premium is $7,000, Foo Fighters is $6,500. See, and to me that's getting into value proposition, right? If you are a huge fan of that band and you like the game, all of a sudden that makes a lot of sense for you. Here's another one, King Kong. Now this one's much busier, and this has some of the best shots, some of the best flowing shots that I've ever played in a real pinball machine. There's the shot here from this upper left flipper. If I can get my, here it is. Come on. So this upper left flipper, you shoot this shot right here up this ramp. It comes around and does this spinning thing all the way through here. Comes out, loops around here, hit this, and then it goes around here, and all the way down and around, all the way to this in lane on the right-hand side. It is an incredibly fun and smooth shot. You also have the shot right up the middle for the multi-ball to hit. This is a really, really fun table. And for me, this is one that I absolutely adore. Not everybody's a huge fan of it. But, I mean, that's the beauty of pinball. Every single table has its nuance for sure. The next one, Godzilla. Everybody loves Godzilla. I do not. Kong is so moddable too. Yeah, it sure is. You can put a lot into that game for sure. Godzilla, this game is, it's a pretty wide open playfield. So it's funny, people aren't squawking about value on this one. They'll spend any number to get this game, and I don't understand it. Like, it's got some good shots, I will say. It's not Kong level for sure, but they're both Elwyn games. So if you liked Keith Elwyn, you're going to like these games for sure. But Godzilla, man, this one continues to sell. The only thing I don't like about these games is the artwork is incredibly busy on two of these. Deadpool is another one. The artwork is incredibly busy. They could have minimized quite a bit and made it a little cleaner. I think it would have been better. But the density of the artwork expresses how much depth there is to the game. The code is incredibly deep on these things. So it is really interesting to see what they're doing with these. So that is that. But man, the cost versus value proposition for some of these is really interesting to see. There are plenty of people with the kind of money buying a new Stern for them is like us buying a $10 table. That's true, Leon. Stern will sell out whatever they make, complex or simple. For Pokemon, I think the biggest thing is going to be on location. People are going to buy this thing just to put it on location because it's going to be a money pit. They're going to really make some money on this thing for sure. Tomato Grass says Zombie Yeti makes beautiful artwork but doesn't tell you where to go. That's true. That's a good point. That's really true. The inserts are not placed, there's hardly any room for that. So you're absolutely right. Zombie Yeti definitely makes it harder. I'm not a huge fan of his layouts for that reason. I like to see something a little cleaner, a little crisper. The older, we always go back to the 90s versions because they are classics, but they are much more simple and much more playable. They're dense, but they're not so ridiculous that you're having to look in a 20-page manual to try to figure out how to play this game. You can look through it and you can pretty much learn to play the game from the playfield. You cannot do that anymore. I don't think anybody can. I think you guys would all agree with me that you can't really walk up to a table anymore and figure out how to play it until you play the heck out of it. And the problem is with a brand new table, you don't have that full code. So there's definitely things that just don't exist and that might not exist for a year after that table's out. So that is a real bummer with real pinball tables. I guess that would be kind of akin to like patches in a digital pinball sense, but it would be interesting to see. So yeah, Pinball Wizard, thank you for putting the Discord channel in the links. Yeah, we talk about this stuff all the time. So if there's any, if you love this type of conversation, this stuff is talked about all the time, 24/7 in the Discord. We talk about it all day, every day, basically. So don't let that, if you have any hesitation whatsoever, or you're thinking what's going to be there, that's what we're going to talk about. So, all right. Next up, man, oh man. The Pokemon controversy is kind of silly to me because it seems like it's going to be a lot more simple than it really is. It's gonna be sell like hotcakes. It's going to be a big producer. It's gonna get you lots of quarters. If you're gonna buy it and put it on location, it's gonna earn you lots of money. If you want it in your house, your kids are gonna love it. It's just gonna be simple. It's playable. There's a lot of proposition there for sure. So, Stellar Pinball makes some cool mods for Kong and Fall of the Empire. This is Billywood Mods. And Lord Skylar says, join the Discord. Great people. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's a shameless plug, and I love it. So, like I said, the Discord's grown pretty big. We're starting to get spammers now in the Discord. I've had to actually ban a couple of people because they're coming here just to infiltrate, I guess. I don't know. So that's been a thing for sure. So next up, flipper fatigue. There are Pokemon collectors. Those pins will sell like hotcakes. That's true, Mad Ben. There absolutely is. And there are people who absolutely want everything Pokemon. They have the cards. They have... you got full-grown adults going to Target and buying up all the cards so the kids can't get them. Stuff happens all the time. It's shocking, but it is a thing. But the same thing happens for Magic, Dungeons and Dragons, and all that stuff. So it's not shocking, especially for people that grew up with it. It's very important to them, and this hobby just kind of makes like a furniture showpiece in your house. A pinball table of something that you love, of an IP that you care about, is a conversation piece and something that you can enjoy for years and years and years. So it does lead to some conversations and some good family fun, and you find reasons obviously to do that. So, all right. So next up, I want to talk a little bit about flipper fatigue. What do you guys do for flipper fatigue? Now, I've experienced this week a lot of stuff going on in my life. My mother has basically had her fourth stroke in the last couple of weeks, and so she's been kind of down and out. She fell on the ice a few weeks ago, and then she fell again this last week, broke her foot. So she's kind of down and out. So yesterday I went to Kalamazoo, the west side of the state here, dealing with that. And it's been kind of a good week for things other than pinball, because for whatever reason, I haven't been feeling it this week. I've played, as you know, I was the dedicated grinder on season 1 of Flipper Friends. I competed every single week. They didn't say I was good, but they did say I competed. I got a participation trophy. So there's that. Not a compliment, but I definitely have struggled to play this new set of games. So we had Future World Deluxe, which, as you know, can be... we'll jump over to the playfield here for a bit here. Jabba, welcome, man. I know it's pretty late where you're at. Sorry to hear about your mom. Yeah, I appreciate that, Mad Ben. It's been nuts, man, to be honest. So this is Future World Deluxe. Now, Future World Deluxe, as you know, I like this game. I like this game a lot. It is part of Flipper Friends this week, but this is a game that, even for me, is going to take me over an hour to play the game. For this one game, to get a good score. And my current score is about 400 million points, so I'm at 500 million. And I know for most Magic Pixel tables like this you're generally going to have to score about 1 billion points if you want to truly compete on these tables. You take weeks off and then come back wanting to play. And that's probably what I need to do, Mad Ben. I will definitely have to heed some of those considerations, because I have been in a place where I'm like, man, I'm going to play this game a couple of times. I played them on stream earlier this week, on the weekend. Really enjoyed it. I had some good scores. I generally don't have the best scores on stream. It's just, I want to engage with the crowd and the whole bit. So my scores really aren't the best when I play them on here, on stream. But, like, for Future World, this game, it's not fair, man. This one, you can get an extra ball basically every ball, and then I'm just going for modes the rest of the time. So the flipper fatigue on this one's really strong. It's a great game. But I would much rather have a more difficult game that hurts me and kills me, and lets me play it for 20, 30 minutes than a game that's going to allow me to play for more than an hour every single time. And I feel like a lot of the Flipper Friends tables are kind of going that route just because of their accessibility. So this next one, Nautilus. Nautilus, the remake, again, great table. I have nothing but good things to say about Nautilus Remake. But this is another one. It's pure multi-ball. Pure multi-ball. I spent probably a couple hours on this table over the course of the weekend playing it. I'm about 500 million points, 442 million-ish I think it is on this one. And it's another one, like, you're gonna be busy. Like, this is so T-Bone in the house. Sorry to hear about your mom, buddy. Yeah. I just noticed you got a micro backup again. Yeah, I do. I do have another micro. So, if I'm playing any competition, it has to be fun. If it's not fun, I don't enjoy it, I'm not playing. Only so many hours in the day. So that's a thing. Flipper fatigue I'm definitely feeling. And I don't know if the general consensus of people play it. Maybe I'm just playing too much or I'm grinding too hard. I love my pinball. I try to play pinball every day for an hour, maybe. So if that's one table, that's probably not going to do it for me. I like to mix it up. I like to do modes a lot of times. So one of the things that I've been doing lately, and I'm going to probably do more of this on this channel, is start to play a singular game during a stream and just really dive into modes. Try to get to the wizard mode and do more of that and less of the Flipper Friends games. So hopefully that's acceptable to you guys for content reasons. I think that's going to be more consistent with a lot of what the real pinball guys do. They're obviously not switching between games on a real stream for real pinball. And I think I can go into more in-depth, maybe do some tutorial stuff a little bit more. So I'm going to change up the content that I'm doing a little bit just to kind of break free of some of that flipper fatigue and get away from some of that. This last one is Pinball Champ. And now Pinball Champ, this one's really cool. I actually like this game a lot. This is from 1983. It's got some really cool shots. Even this one, I thought that this would be a table that I could really excel at. And I got 14 million points, and I'm thinking, that's got to be pretty good. Nope. I'm 32 right now on this table. 32. So I'm like, holy crap, man. I'm going to have to grind the heck out of this. So what did I do? For the last 2-3 days, I've been playing nothing but Pinball Champ. And I'm thinking, what is going on? I cannot seem to score the kind of points that I need to compete on this table. And I start to consider, like, even 14 million takes you a while. It's not a tremendous amount, but 20 minutes, that's nothing, right? I'm okay with that. But then when I see the scores, and I was asking Tomato Grass in my Discord, like, how do you play this game? What am I missing? Like, I feel like a lot of times for me, if I'm missing out big time on scores, there's just something little that I'm missing. And for this, it was the spinner. I know there's some good points there, but I didn't think there was as many points as there is. But he's basically like, you got to get your extra ball every single time. You should be playing 8 balls on this table. I hadn't been doing that. I think I've been playing maybe 4. So I was definitely missing out. So there's definitely things that I miss, which kind of contributes to some flipper fatigue for me. But just 2 days off does wonders for me if I'm burned out, says Pete G. That's probably what I need to do, man. I generally do not take a day off when it comes to pinball. I'm playing, whether it's on the Legion Go, the Switch, I'll play the Micro, I'll play the HDP, I'll play VR. Like, between the daily grind tournaments that we do, the Flipper Friends tournaments, this week we had Nod too, so I'm doing really well in Nod. But again, I've only played that once. I played those 3 tables a few times. I did it on stream, and I really haven't touched them again. So I hate doing poorly in Flipper Friends. I don't mind doing poorly in Daily Grind. It doesn't sting. Just playing and talking to friends, yeah. And I need to do more daily grinded, less flipper friends, basically. Is probably what it boils down to. So that's a good strategy. Maybe take off a day off and don't play, says Pinball Wizard. Reset your mind. I've been thinking about doing that myself. So I guess I'm not the only one. So that's good to hear that you guys are feeling it as well. I must say this week's tables have been pretty cool to be competitive, but just too many hours in the day. And you're doing really good, Pinball Wizard. I think you said you're 4th overall right now. So there's some serious scores there. We'll bring up Flipper Friends, the real tallies just for a second here, because it is interesting to see. I would like to know what people are doing on it. The Flip Pal, great tool if you haven't been using it. Allows us to see the scores really easily. We'll show this up here. So here you can see I have dropped to 33rd now, and I don't know that I'm going to play these again. Between the stuff going on with my mom and Friday again, I have to go up there. I'm going to spend the whole day with her again, trying to get her situated with some rehab and different things. So it's just too much. I've got to finish the root canal tomorrow. I've had the teeth things going on lately, so there's been a lot going on in my world. So here it is. You got Med Ben Han, number 1. Cyril, Spartacus, 6-string pen. Pinball Wizard, you've dropped to 5th. Well, you're tied for 4th. So, Dennis B, Sacro, Skull Joe, Wizard 626, Papa Brad, and then myself at 17. So, some really good names up there. Some great scores. Pretty cool to see for sure. But for me, definitely, I'm kind of burnt out on it. So I definitely need to take some of your guys' advice and probably do a little better for that. So, Alex won't mind if you take a week off of Flipper Friends. Yes, he will, Soggy Bacon. I will be shamed. I will probably drop many places, and I will be on the dropping list. And so he'll be like, hey, Retrotech sucks at pinball. He should probably watch some tutorial videos. Right? So, yeah, there's that. Good stuff, man. So, yeah, flipper fatigue definitely is a thing that I experience. I guess I could start to take strategies from you guys that maybe it's just a day or two off. Maybe it's not a week. Maybe it is a week where it needs to be. Yeah, you could say I have a pinball obsession between running a YouTube channel, doing Flipper Friends and Nod, doing videos on the side, plus running the Discord. Maybe it's too much pinball for me. Maybe. You won't play well when you're burned out. No. And the frustration is the biggest thing for me. If I don't do well on the first couple balls, kind of fall apart. And that's kind of a thing. So, Leon Spiegel says, I suggested this before, but always get shot down. Why can't you just play 3 days of daily grind, be the 3 Flipper Friends each week? They aren't bad tables this season. You know, Leon, I don't know how well that would go over because they're all Magic Pixel tables. That's the biggest part. You guys in the daily grind really love your Zen tables. They like to play Zen because they can't play them anywhere else and play them in competition anywhere else. So that has been a thing for sure. You've been dropping in the list since last August. Yeah, I think, in fact, I'm actually ahead of Soggy Bacon in the overall DPR, W, or whatever. There's no way that that's true. Soggy Bacon, you destroy me every chance you get, so it's not even a point. So yeah, that is what it is. So next up, let's get into the one-ball stuff for this week. We had some really good one-ball competitions. So this is going to be fun to watch, guys. 3 of 7. Yeah, 3. Oh, I see what you're saying, Leon. Yeah, so 3 days of the 7. I could see some of that. I don't know. I mean, we could certainly put it up to vote. Man, what happened to the camera there? That was crazy. Come on. There we go. Okay. So for the one-ball challenge this week, it was kind of interesting. We had some really good ones. This is Dennis B. So Dennis B, what a score. Now again, this is the essence of the one ball for greatness. Dennis B had 17 million on the first one, 3 million on the second, and 415 million on that third ball. This is what we want to see, guys. We want to see people continuing to play games that weren't particularly good and then going gangbusters. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is a back glass score still. Let me double check real quick. 415 million points. Is that, where's this? This is a remake, right? 436. It is not. Okay, I thought it was for some reason, but that is an incredible score. I mean, he went absolutely nuts on this final ball, and that's really cool to see. So Dennis B, thank you for that. Pow, again. People can pick Flipper Freds any day they want in the daily grind, but we pick the best tables, says Soggy Bacon. There's arguments already in the chat here. It's not the daily grind if the winners don't get to pick the next day's table. That we'd be losing that half a week. I could see that. So yeah, and that is a strong component for the daily grind. This next one's Dr. Dude. No, this is Eagle. I mean, this is a great score, by the way. 12 million points on Dr. Dude is still a tough game. I mean, this is a tough table, first of all. But he didn't give up. 500,000 on the first one, 473 on the second, and 11 million on the third ball. That's really cool to see. So Eagle, thanks for posting that. Love that. This next one, look at this. Now this is Mad Ben Han. So Mad Ben Han, you're in the chat. What a disgrace. Now what happened here? This is a one ball for greatness, but clearly you did something crazy on ball 2 and 3. So this guy, and so let's let's fight it out in the Discord. For sure, man. Med Ben Han. So you posted this in the one ball for greatness. And I think it's funny because it's kind of a reverse one ball. This is a one ball for failure. He did 5 billion points. And this, I will tell you, is number one on the back glass by 500 million points on the back glass right now. He's already number one on the back glass with this score. He didn't even try on ball 2 and 3. He plunged the ball and it basically died and he got 1 million points. So, yes, almost 4 hours. This is 3.81 hours of gameplay, folks. Mad Ben Han continues to dominate the digital pinball space. This playfield right here is absolutely astounding. PG says, I've grown to love Dr. Dude because it's so darn difficult. That is incredible, dude. Dr. Dude is a tough table. It does have its moments. It can be fun. It reminds me a lot of Party Zone. So I could definitely see that. But this photo from Med Ben Han, we really had to laugh at because this is not the essence of the one ball for greatness. He didn't even give it a chance on ball 2 and 3. Now, I don't know if this is actually accurate, if that's actually his ball 2 and 3 scores. Sometimes there's a little glitch where it gives you a weird score for the extra balls or whatever, but that's pretty funny. But absolutely, almost 4 hours on this particular game. And that's what it's going to take sometimes, guys, to compete at the level that these guys are at. So, astounding score out of this league. Mad Ben, congrats, dude. That's incredibly, man. Sorry, Retro, opposite of your intent. Absolutely. I was like, get that crap out of here. That's a great score, but it's not at the end. Like, the one ball for greatness is about persevering when you had a bad ball and saying, you know what, I'm going to finish this game. I'm going to learn something. So I gotta razz you, man. But this was an incredible score. So absolutely, I'm glad you posted it. This was one for me. I was struggling to do well on Winter Sports, and I had just one good ball. 3 million points is not a great score, but this table's tough, and I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna put it in there. This is what it's talking about. I did really, really badly, but I was gonna learn the best I could. Hey, that's one ball for greatness in a way only Mad Ben Han could do. That's true. That is true. I started draining balls while on drain 1. On ball 1, you can keep getting extra ball and stacking them, Mad Ben Han. And the only way you get an extra ball on the remake, I recall, is to complete all the modes. So, and the modes mean you have to hit the spiral letters here on the right, and those are all tough to kind of hit. The modes themselves aren't that particularly hard. I've gotten through the wizard mode before, but to do that many times over the course of a 4-hour gameplay marathon is just incredible. So, This next one is by Soggy Bacon for Star God remake. This is a fun table. This is the one where you actually have the story modes that he's talked about in the past. The Cave of Hayden, the Sword of Adder. I think I got to Army of Bane this time is the furthest I got. I would love to be able to complete all the modes for this. A really fun table. But this is the essence of the One Ball for Greatness. And I want to say, didn't you get a back glass score for this one too? I want to say you did. But man, Star God remake. I want to say you did. Let's just see here. I'm pretty sure. So 448. Yeah, you're number 2 on the back glass with this score. And this was all basically on the third ball. So you had 83 in the first one, nothing on the second, and then a killer third ball. So this is what One Ball for Greatness is all about. Really cool to see. You do not have that level of commitment. Right, Billy Woods? I'm glad some people can understand where I'm coming from here, because it could be tough for sure. So that was another stellar game. Number 2 on the back glass. Congratulations, Soggy Bacon. Incredible score. And this is a daily grind game, guys. This is one that we played this week. This was another daily grind game. And look at this one. This is another Soggy Bacon special. Stop yawning. You're making me tired. I can't help it, man. I'm talking too much, apparently. Chucky. This is another 82 million on the first ball. That's pretty reasonable. That's doable, right? And then he got into the wizard mode. 2.4 billion points in the wizard mode. And Soggy Bacon, did you just plunge the third ball and say screw it at that point? Like what happened there? I feel like you just said the heck with it. Because like what happened? Chucky's Killer Pinball. This has got to be a back glass score, doesn't it? So let's see here. So Soggy Bacon's score of 2.4 billion. It wasn't even his best score. His best score is 3.3 billion. So he killed Chucky for sure. But yeah, definitely Soggy Bacon's getting back glass scores in the daily grind every week. It feels like he's getting 2 or 3 a week right now. Absolutely killing it. So that's really cool to see. So congrats on that again. But this wasn't even a personal best. So get that crap out of here. Now this one's Soggy Bacon. Holy crap, man. So Creature from the Black Lagoon, which we just covered a little bit ago. We looked at just briefly. This score is absolutely incredible. Where is it here? Creature from the Black Lagoon. Let's switch over. So first of all, look at this score. This is 39 billion with the B points for the One Ball for Greatness. 1.1 on his first ball. Okay, reasonable. You could technically get that with Move Your Car, but he didn't. He did it with the Wizard mode. Only 12 million on the second ball, and then 39 billion points. So this is number 3 on the back glass right now, folks. Look at that. Number 3 on the back glass for Soggy Bacon. Again, that's 2 back glasses in the same week. And this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon. So it's just absolutely incredible. We'll go back to the score there. But yeah, this is just over an hour. Not just barely an hour's worth of gameplay. So it tells me that he's not doing Move the Car. It's basically all wizard modes. And just continuing to hit that ramp and having it spin around the in lane there. There's a lot of points to be had there. If you can continue to hit that shot, you can do really, really well. I choked trying to get to the wizard mode again. You choked after 40 billion points. You would have only needed 47 billion to get the number 1 spot. 42, you needed another 2 billion to get past Tomato Grass. So it was right there, man. Right for your taking. I got the first billion with Move Your Car. Builds the wizard mode jackpot. Oh, that's true. I always forget that's a thing. I can get to the wizard mode really easily, but I really can't juggle all that well when I get into it. The ball physics on this one are incredibly heavy, and I really struggle with that on this one. So it's definitely something that I struggle with. But so awesome score, man. Awesome score. I can't even tell you. So those are the One Balls for Greatness this week. I tell you what, man, it's every single week I mean, how many have we gone through every single week where you guys have just absolutely killed it? Really cool to see. Always fun. There's always some mega scores up there to look at and go over. And then, of course, we have to talk about the daily grind itself. The scores for this week, again, we're over an hour, believe it or not. I didn't know that we would have enough conversation this week to talk about, but between the real pinball conversation, there was a lot to cover there. So it was a good week for that. Next week, we're going to have a release of Nautilus EM Plus. And hopefully we can get some another Zen table in there somewhere at some point. I thought maybe this week, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So maybe next week, maybe the end of the month. We'll see. But EM Plus is coming next week on the 16th, I think it is. No. 25th. So next week we'll get Nautilus EM Plus. So I'm super excited about that one. I haven't played that one, but I've kind of seen some basic gameplay in the video. So that'll be curious to see. Oh, and I'm not showing these scores on Daily Grind, so I definitely wanted to show these. So you can see our week here started with Chucky's Killer Pinball, where Soggy Bacon got his mega score. Star God Remake. Look at Soggy Bacon across the top here. Number 1 in 5 of the 7 days. Fantastic scores across the board. He won the overall leaders for the entire week. VPX was a good thing there. It looks like I might actually win one this week with Avengers. So who knows? I didn't think that would hold, but I have 82 million points on the Avengers on VPX. Really fun table. I really enjoyed that table a lot. It reminds me a little bit of Transformers from 2011. It's very similar gameplay in a lot of ways, and I really dig it. I did have what I thought was a really good score on Twister as well. And then Soggy Bacon and Shaver ripped right past me. That Shaver score, 8.2 billion on Twister. That is a mega score. Awesome gameplay. Super fun getting into multi-ball and shooting that ramp again and again and again. Awesome scores, guys. I can't tell you enough. We had some really fun tables. TX Sector was probably one of my funnest, or one of the tables that I had the most fun on because it was very different. I had to learn that table again, and being the Gottlieb table, it's super clean and crisp. It does have kind of the floaty physics or whatever, but man, did I enjoy that game so much. Back to the Future, I've never been a fan of. My Avengers score was amazing. Hey, sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't. I'm like Almond Joy. Back to the Future is a game I do not enjoy, so I generally do not play that game. So I was glad to see Lord Neep. He's relatively new to the Discord, so congratulations for that. That was a great score. Tiny Ninja really showed up this week, had some great scores. Epic Waffles, brand new to the Discord, on the leaderboards. That was cool to see. And again, we had, I think it was 22-ish people. Yeah, 22 people again played this week, so we have lots of diversity in people playing and enjoying this tournament. So always fun to see. All these scores will be reset tonight after 11 o'clock after we declare the winners, and then we'll start to pick out new games again this week. The real pinball challenge for the daily grind, or for the monthly grind, if you will, is still going on for Cactus Canyon. So if you get an opportunity to get out to a real table, I see Pinball Wizard, you have not posted yet on Cactus Canyon, so make sure to do that. I need to get to Cactus Canyon. Maybe I'll try to do that this weekend. I want to go play some real pinball again. It's been a long time for me as well, so I got to get out there and do that. Maybe that'll break the flipper fatigue a little bit, going to play some real pins, kick my butt a little bit. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Doom VR, which came out for Pinball FX on VR this week via the MetaQuest. Jabba's score 122 million points. I believe this is second overall right now on VR. So if I'm wrong on that, please correct me on that, Jabba. You're probably sleeping by now, but what a mega score, man. I loved this game. I think my best score ever on Doom VR is about 45-ish million, so I wasn't even in the hunt. But Bally Dern, Lord Neep, Dennis B. all have played it. If you guys are loving VR, there does seem to be some graphical issues with there that they look like they're patching, so hopefully that'll get cleaned up. But Doom VR has been great.
I really wish that table would come to at games, and it seems that everybody in, whether it be Facebook or X, no matter where they post anything about those tables, everybody in the comments is saying, please get with at games, get this out, get this out, get this out. So it'll be curious to see whether or not at games actually posts that or not, or actually responds to it. That's the biggest thing I'd like to see. They're huge IPs. I think they would do really, really well. And again, they would only be available for the 4KP and the HDP, so maybe that's not the biggest concern for them going forward. But man, awesome games. But man, oh man, guys, incredible scores for this. You have about another 50 minutes to finish your scores. I think I'm going to take another shot at Creature from the Black Lagoon. I was enjoying it earlier. Again, this is one you can get it in the wizard mode in 10 minutes. Easy. I mean, 5 minutes, really. You can get into wizard mode super fast. It's a super enjoyable game. And if you can put up some mega scores on it really fast, it's kind of like Fishtails in that regard. Super fun game. The problem with Creature from the Black Lagoon in real life, table is never in good shape. The one I play at Brighton around here, it's unlevel. One of the flippers is bad. It's just, it does not play well. So to have a digital version of it, even if it's not perfect, the heavy physics on this can be really brutal. But man, oh man, it is a super fun table to play. And if you're watching this channel and you have not liked or subscribed yet, please do so. We're on the push to 1,000 subscribers. I'm not there yet. I got another 107-ish to go. So if you're watching this channel every single week and not subscribed yet, please consider it. You probably already went to bed at this point, so maybe I'm too late with the decree. But drop a like if you haven't. 22 here and 5 likes. Pump up the channel. Yeah, I appreciate that. Please do if you're watching. If you don't like the content, please let me know if there's something you want me to change. I think I am going to change up the thumbnail for these a little bit. I've probably gotten a little stale. And I do get a little bit better engagement, I think, when I put the main topics on a little less static imagery. So I'll do something a little different with that. Dennis B., you're too late, man. Popping in to slap that like button, though. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, man. We did talk about your big scores on the One Ball for Greatness this week, so that was cool to see. But that is all for me, guys. I hope you guys have a great week. With all the struggles out there with people's families and the sicknesses, and it looks like the weather's actually improved for most of us across the board. But do your best to take good care of yourself. Make sure you're working out. Get your nutrition. My mom is 73 years old, and she is really, really struggling. And all I wanted to do when I got home after seeing her was to go hit the weight room. I'm pushing 50. I'll be 48 in a few weeks here. And I tell you what, there's nothing more valuable than your health. So walk after your meals, work out, play pinball after you work out. You'll play better. It's just a fact. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. And as you've seen here, as you see every week, you only need one ball for greatness. Sometimes you don't even need ball 2 or 3. Thanks, Mad Ben Han, for that. So keep plunging, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Retro